All right, folks, I'm going to take up on that. No forever Powell. That's the subject of the riff. So it looks like a legal battle between Fed Chairman Jay Powell and President Donald Trump, with hashtag free Kevin Warsh caught in the middle. Now, I'm betting on Mr. Trump, and I'm betting on Mr. Warsh. But it's a very hinky story right now. All-star Washington watcher Dan Clifton of Strategas put it well by noting that Jay Powell's press conference yesterday had a more negative impact on stocks than a huge attack on the world's largest natural gas plant. Now, to step back a moment, the Wall Street Journal Economic Survey does not produce a recession forecast, according to today's paper. For what it's worth, 50 economists expect GDP growth of slightly over 2% this year, with an inflation rate of less than 3%. They're assuming roughly 3 months duration for the Iran war, and oil prices will wind up averaging less than $150. I don't agree with any of these estimates. We're about halfway through the 4 to 6 week war anticipated by the president. And while oil prices have jumped, it's not nearly as much as $5 plus gasoline under Joe Biden. Or, in inflation-adjusted terms, it's not near as much as $200 oil per barrel that occurred briefly in 2008. Nothing like that. The thing about these legacy media economic forecasts is that there are usually no supply-siders or pro-growth advocates who understand the prosperity power of tax cuts, 100% immediate depreciation write-offs, widespread deregulation, drill baby drill, and reciprocal free trade policies. There's a business boom going on out there. It includes capital spending and factory construction, along with very decent pre-war consumer spending. I think that boom will continue post-war. And as oil prices return to normalcy, perhaps $60 or even less, the temporary wartime inflation is going to fall off a cliff. That's one reason why, apart from Jay Powell's desire to be forever Fed chairman, the worst news he delivered yesterday was the likelihood that there will be no Fed rate cuts this year, or barely one, and that's a big change from the 3 rate cuts markets expected pre-war. Then Mr. Powell said he has, quote, no intention of leaving the Fed until the Justice Department investigation of him is, quote, well and truly over, whatever that means, with transparency and finality, whatever that means. Now, Powell expects to be something called the pro tem chairman, or chairman pro tem. Well, even after his term as chairman ends May 15th, that's what he expects, but he has no such authority to appoint himself chairman forever. That's a presidential appointment. And although there may be legal disputes, if Powell simply remains as a board member through his term that ends 2028, it's still a presidential decision to appoint a chairman from the existing board members, of whom Kevin Warsh will hopefully be one of them. However, Warsh has to get confirmed by the Senate by May 15th. And he probably has to start his confirmation hearings no later than May 1st. But that may be tied up in this legal dispute between the Justice Department and the Fed. I'm going to posit that financial markets do not want Jay Powell forever, either as chairman or board member, all right? And Powell is being an egotistical fool for behaving in this way, not only in bucking presidential authority, which is unbecoming and unseemly, but doing so in the middle of a war that will hopefully change the entire course of history and rid ourselves of the Iranian nuclear and terrorist scourge. In short, it is time for Mr. Powell to abide by the law and custom and tradition, and, by the way, in so doing, keeping the Fed truly independent. And it is time for him to go quietly into the night. And that's my riff. All right.